The hospital corridor glowed with the pale hum of fluorescent lights as the nurse ended her shift and rubbed her tired eyes. She had been on her feet for 12 hours. Straight moving from patient to patient, answering every call, helping every scared family with the calm voice of someone who had seen both chaos and miracles tonight. She stepped out into the chilly evening with her badge tucked into her pocket, her scrubs smelling faintly of antiseptic and lavender. Hand lotion she never noticed. The dark SUVs that rolled silently into the parking lot, or the tall men stepping out, moving with the kind of disciplined silence that came from years of training at first. She only thought the lot seemed strangely still, like the air itself was. Waiting for something, she kept walking toward her old compact car, humming a tune from the radio. When she heard the first firm bootstep behind her, she stopped. Slowly, more out of exhaustion than fear, and turned. The tall men spread out in a half circle surrounding her, though not aggressively, more like a coordinated formation, one she had only seen in military documentaries. They stood straight and still, their faces unreadable under the dim parking structure lights. Then the tallest one stepped forward and addressed her with a calm, steady tone. "Ma'am, the team is here for you." She blinked for a moment, unsure if he was joking, but the man did not smile. His expression carried weight and urgency. Before she could speak, the rest of the team snapped to attention, their boots hitting the pavement in perfect unison. That single motion echoed through the empty lot like a warning or an announcement. She felt her heart pick up speed. She asked what this was about, but they simply gestured to create a path, encouraging her to walk with them toward the vehicles. She fought the instinct to step back because something in their eyes said they were not here to harm her. In fact, they seemed oddly respectful, attentive, even deferential, as if she were someone far more important than a nurse who just ended a long shift. Her mind raced through possibilities. Maybe there was a mistake. Maybe she'd treated someone important. Or maybe something terrible happened in the hospital, and they needed her help. But the lead operator shook his head as if reading her thoughts and said quietly, "Nothing is wrong, ma'am, but something has come to light that concerns you directly." She swallowed hard, the chill in the air suddenly sharper. The team moved around her in a protective formation, guiding her to the SUV at the center. She noticed the patches on their gear and realized these were not ordinary soldiers. These were SEALs, the kind of men called in when the situation was dire and the stakes were life or death. She hesitated at the open door, but the lead operator simply nodded, a gesture of reassurance. She climbed in, and the door shut with a muffled thud. The team spread out around the vehicles, some standing guard, others climbing in themselves. The engine hummed to life, and the convoy rolled out of the lot, moving with practiced precision. As they drove, she tried to piece together any reason they would salute her or call her ma'am. Maybe they confused her with someone else, but every time she doubted the situation. She saw the seriousness in their posture, the precision in their movements, and the unmistakable respect they showed her. Finally, the lead operator turned slightly and said, "We have been instructed to bring you to a secure location. Someone wishes to speak with you." She wanted to ask who, but something in his tone told her the answer would only raise more questions. The convoy drove through quiet streets, the city lights flickering against the windows. Her exhausted mind replaying her shift over and over, trying to find any clue. She felt her anxiety tighten in her chest. Yet beneath it, a strange sense of anticipation grew. The SEALs were not acting out of protocol, but out of something deeper. She just did not know what yet. The vehicles finally slowed as they reached a gated facility surrounded by high fences and watchtowers. Guards stepped aside the moment they saw the convoy, as if expecting her arrival. The gates rolled open. She stepped out, surrounded once again by the formation, the cold wind rustling her scrubs as the SEALs flanked her on both sides. They escorted her toward a building at the center, lights glowing inside, silhouettes moving behind frosted windows. Then, as she approached the door, the team suddenly stopped all at once and snapped into a crisp salute, directing it not at their commander, not at the officers, Nearby, but at her, she froze, confused, overwhelmed, and suddenly deeply afraid. She whispered, "Why are you calling?" "Me, ma'am." But before anyone answered, the heavy door ahead opened slowly, and the truth waiting behind it was something she never could have imagined. The nurse stepped forward, her pulse thundering in her ears as the door swung open to reveal an older man in a simple uniform, his posture straight, his gaze sharp, yet familiar. He looked at her with a mixture of reverence and relief, as if he had been waiting for this exact moment for years. She hesitated, unsure whether to enter, but the man nodded, gently inviting her inside as the SEAL team lowered their salute. Though they maintained a respectful distance behind her, the room was warm, softly lit, not the sterile brightness of the hospital, but something more welcoming, almost like an office. Blended with a briefing room, maps lined the walls, medals rested behind glass, and a single long table held classified folders sealed with red tape. The older man spoke first, his voice calm and steady. "Thank you for coming, ma'am." She shook her head. Explaining she had not come willingly, she had been escorted. He gave a faint smile and said, "We escorted you because it was necessary, and because you deserved nothing less." She frowned, not understanding any of this, so he motioned for her to sit. He took the seat opposite her, opened a folder, and slid it toward her inside. She saw her own name, her photograph, and records she had never seen before. The man told her that years ago, before she was adopted, she had been placed into a protection program, not because she was in danger, but because of who her biological parents had been. Her mother, a decorated intelligence officer lost in a covert operation, her father, a SEAL team commander who had gone missing under mysterious circumstances. The moment he said it, something inside her shifted like puzzle pieces falling into place. Memories she had long ignored, small things like her instinctive calm during emergencies, her ability to read people quickly, her reflexes sharper than most. These traits, legacy traits, she never understood until now. The man explained that her father had left behind a final directive, a sealed instruction to be delivered only when she turned 30, and only if certain global conditions were met. Those conditions had been triggered the previous week, a breach in an international network linked to the same mission that had taken her parents. He told her that she carried something unique, not a weapon, not a code, but knowledge. Knowledge embedded in early childhood memories. Before the protection protocols had erased them from her conscious mind, the SEAL team entered quietly, forming a protective presence around her. Their expressions, a mixture of respect and expectation. She asked what they wanted from her. The older man replied, "We want nothing from you, ma'am, but we need your help." She felt the weight of his words settle like a stone in her chest. He explained that her mother had hidden critical intel inside a lullaby she used to hum to her as a baby, a lullaby that resurfaced in her mind only during moments of deep stress. She realized she did hum something to soothe patients, something she never heard elsewhere. The team needed her to recall it, not forcefully, but naturally, under controlled conditions, to unlock the pattern her mother embedded decades ago. She felt overwhelmed, the room spinning slightly as her humble life as a nurse clashed with this revelation. She told them she was not special, just someone who worked long shifts and tried to help people, but the team looked at her with unwavering conviction. The lead operator stepped forward, the same one who saluted her earlier, and said quietly, "Ma'am, you saved 3 lives today during your shift. That alone makes you extraordinary, but this purpose has chosen you long before." He then guided her to a smaller room, soundproof, a single chair in the center. She sat, trembling slightly, as soft lights dimmed around her. The operator asked her to close her eyes and think of her earliest memories. She searched her mind, drifting through vague images of warmth, faint voices, and then the melody came slowly, fragile yet haunting. She began to hum it. The room remained absolutely silent as the SEALs listened. The tune shifted, rising and falling in deliberate patterns. The older man recorded it on a device, mapping its structure. She felt the memory deepen, like she had opened a door long locked away. When she finished, she opened her eyes to find the operators exchanging glances. The man pressed a button and the spectrogram of the recording appeared, revealing a sequence of embedded numbers coordinates encoded within the melody, her mother's. Final mission completed by her voice, the SEAL team snapped into a unified salute once more, addressing her not just as ma'am, but with a new tone of honor and finality. She realized she was no longer just a nurse, ending her shift. She was the final link in a chain her parents began long ago, and now the world depended on. What came next?